Elizabeth. I'm super excited for this webinar today. I don't know about you, but this is the core of everything that we do, right? This is a great webinar. Specifically, it's called Agency 101. How to build up your agency, whether you're in the media business, whether you're in the agency business, whether you're providing a slew of different types of business services to a set of advertisers. You guys have the perfect opportunity ahead. So I'm going to go ahead and get it kicked off here. A quick reminder, we are recording this. We will send out the recording after the webinar. We will send out the deck as well. And we do encourage questions. Feel free to put them into the Q&A feature or the chat feature. Elizabeth and I are pretty good at doing these things on the fly. So if you have any questions during this presentation, please feel free to let us know. So I'm going to go ahead and get her started today. Quick reminder, I am Ben Balsog. I'm the Vice President of Business Development with Accelerant. I love that I get to work with my cohort here today, Elizabeth. Elizabeth, would you please introduce yourself?
Hey, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. Happy day. Happy Thursday. Elizabeth Bernberg, Senior Director of Business Development. Really, just to echo Ben, excited to be talking with y'all today. We're in the midst of Q4, right? We lovingly call it Q5 here at Accelerant. So excited to be sharing some stuff with you today.
You know what? We love that because it means our partners are keeping us busy, but our success does not come unless you're successful as well. A little bit about our agenda, what we're going through today. First off, obviously, we've knocked out our introduction. We have a digital climate in the agency world. We want to give you guys a quick little overview of what's going on and how things are actually progressing in terms of these different media agencies, digital agencies, things like that. And then we're going to move on to how you're building out your agencies, the must-haves, the must-dos, how to simplify your processes, creating pipeline, talk about media planning, reporting. What do you really need there, right? And then lastly, differentiators that matter the most. We want to make sure you guys are comfortable, you're out there, you're slanging some digital, you're doing it well, and you're winning. Because when you win, we all get to win together. And you know what? I don't know if anybody actually knew this, but did you know that 60% of our nation's economy is actually thriving off of small businesses? It's not off of the big box brands like your Walmarts, your Amazons, your all those other big ones. It's off of small businesses. And I think you're going to be surprised today about a lot of the things that we actually have to share with you. So first off, there's some questions to think about here. As a salesperson, as a multimedia sales specialist, as a digital sales specialist, as a print sales specialist, as a broadcast sales specialist, whatever you're selling, even if it's just business technology, what do you need to make your life easier? Where do you need to create those efficiencies? Is it finding where dollars are being spent? Is it in your processes? Is it in the minutia? Is there heavy lifting involved in any one of these different processes? Think about where you're spending your time and where can you spend your time on more revenue driving activities. Obviously, in the great United States of America, making that American dream happen is what we're all striving for, right? So how do we create these efficiencies and spend more time selling and less time in the minutia? Also, what do your current media and technologies do, or technology partners do, to make your life easier? If you're working with a few different partners or vendors right now, think about how they're continuing to create those efficiencies for you, how they're continuing to support you and make sure that you can do what you do best and sell, right? So where is that room for improvement? What does that look like? To get started, a quick reminder to everybody exactly of who Accelerant is. We're a technology and digital marketing company, and we take the complexity of digital and we make it as simple as possible. Elizabeth and I are so excited because we're the people that are just going to talk about this stuff. We have an incredible team of people behind us that are going to make us look as good as we do. We just threw on some jackets today because we felt like it, but we feel good. You look good, feel good, act good, right? We've got some best-in-class technology and softwares that you guys are obviously familiar with as well. We want to make sure that you can take a deeper dive into it. If you want to take a look into it, feel free to reach out to us and we'll give you a little bit more of a look under the hood. We have award-winning customer service. Those are the best friends that we get to work with every single day. Expert education across all these different platforms. and exceptional operational supports to ensure your campaign performance for your customers. Again, we have the premier operations team in the entire world. These are the people you want running your campaigns. So, Elizabeth, what's the best way to get started here?
Is to quit talking. We're going to talk a little bit, right? But begin doing. I love this. I've got 2 kids. We're Disney fans. This should resonate with every single one of us, our colleagues, our peers. There's a lot of talk involved in setting up an agency. What are we going to do? It's super important to be taking those steps, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. So let's get into it. Let's start diving into the meat of this. The next slide, we are actually going to be looking at the digital climate and the agency world, and really where the two meet, right? In terms of revenue spend, that growth trajectory that we all know is happening in the digital space. Of course, we saw that surge in 2021. That's not decreasing, right? That's continuing to grow, not as aggressively as we saw in 2021, but guess what? You see is growing aggressively. This other slide right here, actually from Burrell and Associates, we love the data there because it is so directly related to SMBs, to markets in your town, USA, right? This is not just the New York Cities and the LAs. This is every single market in the US, right? SMB markets. Look at that growth. Independent digital agencies surging. Huge opportunity there. They are growing. They are connecting with SMBs. They are consulting. But guess what's also growing too? And we'll see that in another slide here as well. The amount of businesses actually in key industries are growing as well. And agencies are faced with some amazing kind of just things today, right? And a lot of them can be considered hurdles, obstacles, but there's so much. I mean, the word we really want to focus on is opportunity, right? And how do you take maybe some of these obstacles and translate them into something that's going to make your life easier? Let's think about talent acquisition and retention. Every single industry, right? We've all experienced, especially this past year, some craziness with finding the right people, experts, and retaining them. Right? Not having that squirrel behavior and having them jump ship, but really drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, it's that great resignation that's been happening, right?
Yep.
Obviously, it's nice to see that we're actually growing the number of jobs in the economy these days, but we still have a bit of a rocky way ahead of us when it comes to, are we in this recession? Are we going into a recession? Actually, as much as I was pulling for the Phillies to win the World Series, they say every time the Phillies win the World Series, a recession happens. So let's hope that that's a good plan, or that's a good thing that we can see there and not having a recession. But we need to navigate these things. So Elizabeth, I'm actually going to take you back one slide real quick.
Yeah, let's do it.
I think it's important to kind of talk a little bit about the number of digital agencies by media partners, media organizations, whether you're a print publisher, you're a TV broadcaster, a radio broadcaster, an out-of-home operator, any of those things. Those are starting to flatten out. A lot of those types of companies, and there's obviously not as many of those companies out there than there are kind of more independent agencies. However, they're starting to flatten out. If they're not in the agency game now, it's harder for them to get into that agency game. But what people don't realize is they're the ones that have had the most and the best relationships throughout really the history of time, right? In order to provide the best advertising to their customers. So you guys need to keep an eye out on what your competition and what that landscape looks like here too. And if you're not offering digital advertising capabilities to your clients, there's a higher chance you could see those clients go bye-bye and move to that niche agency down the street, because they're gunning for those dollars, and they're actually able to retain them better because of the data behind all those things. So when you have that economic uncertainty, and then tying into that talent acquisition, Elizabeth, I know you and I have talked recently about a lot of people that we know, obviously in the industry. It's like, hey, we hire people, but dang, 6 months later, after we train them up, they're starting to do great. Some other company comes in and they snatch them up, pay them a higher salary than what we're able to do. What does that do for these agencies in terms of, being able to provide that insulation of their
Yeah.
operational support.
I mean, the cost of hiring and, retaining and then finding that talent again, that is hard, right? And that's something hard that needs to also make sure that you don't misstep in supporting your clients, right? And that who ends up bearing the brunt when there's turnover internally, right? The support and the service that you're giving to your clients. So we're going to talk about too some great solutions in areas where Accelerant can be that extension of your team, of that expertise, but align with your mission, align with your agency ethics, right? Without adding to your bottom line in terms of expenses, right? Giving you access to people and team members so you don't have to worry too much about what that talent acquisition and retention looks like, what the economic uncertainty is. That's happening to everyone. But as we're in planning phases 2 for next year, I'm sure you're looking at how to optimize your business. Where can I be more efficient, right? Where can I really kind of maybe be leaner and meaner? And who is going to give me the right support to make sure I have that revenue stability, that I have that profitability and margin that is going to ensure that I am here as an agency for the long haul, not short term, but, really planning out long term. So in the end, it's really, about making sure that agencies, our partners who have, these internal arms, or if you're thinking about building out an internal arm or a new business model, we've got to be sure that we're addressing your internal infrastructure to set you up for success, but also make sure that we are addressing what the consumers are demanding right now. They're not asking for it. They are very loud, as we all know, in demanding transparency, attribution, ROI at the end of the day, and a true partner. There's been a shift in that customer behavior, as you see here in the image, and we've all felt it. We've all seen that adjustment. So it's incredibly important for us then to make sure that we're rising to the occasion, that we're meeting them where their behaviors are changing. And then we're able to support them with a media landscape that is an omni-channel approach, because guess what? As we all know, it is segmented right now.
I love it. Elizabeth, you and I were just on a phone call the other day with some people who are, they sell traditional media, whether it's print, broadcast. I can't say exactly what it is right now, but they keep saying, you know what, we're having conversations with our clients, and our clients keep saying, oh, we're spending all this on Facebook, we're doing stuff in Google, and we have people, we're doing it ourselves. And they're not able to do it as effectively as professionals, as experts can do it, right? I learned a really great lesson back when I was in college, and it's let experts be experts for you, right? If you have legal issues, go to your lawyer. If you have medical issues, go to a doctor. If you have marketing needs and issues, use an expert, use a marketing professional for that. So this is your chance to be that army of marketing professionals for them, and have an Accelerant army of 200 behind you to really make sure you can get exactly what you need done there. So absolutely. Elizabeth, beyond some of those other things that are hurdles, roadblocks, things that keep people up at night, what is the number one thing that me and you hear from everybody about what keeps them up at night?
Oh, it echoes right through all of our conversations. When we pose that question, and y'all, we do, it is resounding. New business. How are we cultivating and growing new business? And how do I make sure my team is held accountable in growing that new business? And they're connecting consultatively, right? And you hear me say that word all the time, but how do we make sure that they're doing that and cultivating and building up new business, not just going to the same go-tos, your same core business? So this, I think, is really an important thing to kind of recognize right now. What some agencies are experiencing from 2021 to 2022. There's a lot of noise out there, right? There's competition. Ben highlighted it earlier. So what is your approach? How is your team member really leaning into some of those key differentiators that you yourself offer? How are they using that as a benefit to open up new conversations? Are they looking at specific industries that are growing in the market? We'll definitely touch on that. But it's super important to make sure that new business is not the afterthought, because we know that Ben, tell us the 3 key areas of building revenue. What are they?
The 3 key areas to building revenue for any business. Everybody knows this. Sometimes we just don't talk about it a lot. The first one, the easiest way to grow your revenue is with retention, right? Keeping the business on the books that's already there. The second way, which is a little bit harder, is with upsells, keeping that same business, but then getting them to spend a little bit more money with you. And the third way, which is absolutely the hardest way, we understand that, is through new business. So we want to provide you with some seriously valuable insights here to let you guys know there's light at the end of the tunnel. Actually, the tunnel is absolutely gushing with light right now. We just don't see it. It's a little bit harder. So we're going to point you in the right direction and let you know all you got to do is go forward ahead, full steam ahead, and we're going to make it out of this. And we're going to make it out of it very revenue heavy, very profitably. We want to make sure you guys understand this stuff. The new crop, and this is also another Burrell & Associates slide that this is going to be on their webinar on Thursday, November 17th at 11 a.m. Eastern. I recommend that you guys sign up for that webinar. If you're not taking in Burrell websites, I highly recommend it. It's literally about the people that you work with right now, and they provide so many insights that you can take, ingest, and regurgitate to those people and help them understand what this landscape looks like so you can continue to educate them. Check this out. 6.2 million high propensity businesses have been created. 3.9 million more than the prior 32-week period before the pandemic. So what the pandemic did is there's a lot of people that went out there, they had some great stable jobs. They actually lost their jobs. They may have been furloughed. They're ready to go. They're like, you know what? I've had this idea forever. I'm going to start this freaking business, man. We're going to go up there. They're doing this and they're making it happen now. So there are so many new businesses out there. It's not like the pool is the same size as it was 2 years ago, y'all. There are many new businesses out there and plenty ripe for the picking. Think about this too. Technology does a lot these days, right? Go after people who have different technology solutions. Go after people who provide a different, new, unique way to buy something, ride something, play something, eat something, whatever it might be. Talk to everybody in your community and figure out what that looks like. If you're not going to your chambers, your local chamber of commerce meetings, you should be. That's where these business people hang out. I know I'm part of the Rotary Club. All my brothers, my dad, everybody's part of the Rotary Club. That's where we all are able to drum up and drive great business as well too. Take advantage of those things. So keep in mind here, new business should not be keeping you up at night. It is ripe for the picking. And you guys want to know exactly where to go? According to the Consumer Price Index, these 8 industries right here, and I've actually thrown in a handful of different micro industries. And some of you might realize we're actually pulling this from a slide that we did on a webinar last month on the effective guide to prospecting. These people are actually spending more in advertising right now because of the way that their industries are flowing. So go after those people who are pushing for sporting events and different amusements, things like that. Professional services, especially legal right now, I know is popping off. Electronics, everybody and their moms got 3.5 devices to their cells. Recreation, retail, healthcare, travel, all these. If you have any salespeople right now, if there's one thing you take out of this presentation, take that right now and go hand it off to all your salespeople and say, get after it. This is where the money is being spent right now. That's where the ripest opportunity absolutely is.
Side note, for those states and markets that have legalized marijuana, medicinal marijuana, recreational marijuana, we just had elections. I think Maryland, I think you're in the club. Please be sure that is also from a category standpoint, a part of your new business efforts, because that's just going to, of course, pipeline is a lifeline. That's a Bernberg statement right there. That's going to fuel that growth with these new categories, and they are chomping at the bit to finally be able to market. So just a little nugget, pun intended, to make sure you think about.
Oh, you're so dope. You're so dope. So when we're building out our agencies and we're realizing what do we need in order to be the most efficient salespeople we could possibly be, to make the most efficient business, the most efficient agency, the most efficient media company that we can, there's some must-haves and there's some must-dos. And right now we're showing you one, that was where the business is at. But think about taking it on the inside now. Let's make it a bit more operational.
Yep.
Standardize processes. You guys need to make sure that you standardize your processes with each and every single client. You know what kills businesses, Bernberg? Is one-offs, is
Oh my God.
exceptions, is all those things. You get too many and your team's not able to keep up with it, right? So make sure you standardize your processes and you stick to them. You're going to have, we like to call it, it's a strategy, a set of policies, and a framework that keep these things within the rails so that we can make sure that everybody's able to stay in place and make sure that we're able to scale exactly what we're doing for all of you. The second part, obviously our most favorite part, profitability. Make sure you're being profitable. It's not always about that top line revenue. You got to have the bottom line revenue too. We got to make sure we're putting food on the table. We got to make sure that we're supporting our daily lifestyles, the luxuries that we want, things like that. You got to make sure that you're working with partners that help you stay profitable. Definitely take a look at that. Look at your P&L. Go ahead, Elizabeth.
Oh, I was just going to say, and working with someone who is proactive and understanding your goals and where you want to be from a margin standpoint, from a profitability standpoint, high level revenue is awesome. And yes, we got to have it. At the end of the day, you've got to be making money to pay bills, pay your people, and have your business, have a sustainable business. So make sure too, one of those, we had a few questions that we were asking at the beginning, room for improvement, right? Is your provider, whoever you're working with right now, is this a part of their support of their long-term plan to help develop you? Make sure it also really focuses on what's kind of most important these days is the dollar sign, right? Profitability.
Definitely. So what leads to that profitability? First off, client support. Make sure that you don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? Let's make sure our clients are being supported appropriately. They're seeing ROI, you're seeing ROI, and that you're able to maintain that retention. What's our favorite type of revenue? Compounding revenue, month after month after month. I don't want it for 2 months. I don't want it for 3 months. I want it for 12. I want it for 24. We want it for it all, right? This is how you're able to do it. And when you can tell an easy story of success to each and every single one of your clients, that's how you're able to do it. Tools. Tools are incredibly important. Gosh dang it. I have learned about so many new tools this year that have helped mine and your lives that much easier, Elizabeth. It's insane. Whether it's booking meetings, whether it's submitting an order, whether it's reading your reports, or whether it's a pre-sales tool and an audit tool, things like that. Make sure you use tools to create those efficiencies for yourselves as well. Your partners should be providing tools for you as well. Next, experts. Bernberg, tell us about the experts. Why do we need experts?
Dear Lord, let's go back to that acquisition of qualified talent, right? And retention. And what that also does to your COGS, to your expenses, to your P&L. Talent is expensive. That's a fact. And it is so important to have the right talent on your team with your core team. Absolutely. That is a part of your brand. That is a part of your differentiators. That is you. What really starts adding and becomes incredibly cumbersome to your long-term growth is the need for experts, the need for additional support, strategists, specialists in specific niche areas, but then, paying for it, right? That can really, and that has been a major deterrent and roadblock for those, for those companies that are saying, I'm going to bring, everything's going to be internal. We're going to take this all internal. It's a rude awakening when you start really looking at the details and the costs. What's so important to really focus on here with experts, when you have the right partnership, like with Adcelerant, those experts, again, are aligned with what you expect and what you would want to be an extension, right, of your team. SEO experts, SEM experts who have the professionalism, the experience, the background, not to mention engineering, campaign management, sales, strategists. There is a whole slew of team members with that experience ready to start working with you, and that does not impact your viability as a business. You can be a one-person shop, the power of one, mighty you, and we've got your back. You can be a huge organization and you're trying to really, move the ship in the best way possible. You might need more bandwidth support. We've got your back.
That's exactly what Etsar does, right? We're here to be that extension of your team. I don't know if it feels like it right now. I feel like I'm an extension of your team right now too. You know what? I love that our account managers, they're basically like digital sales managers, right? But you don't have to pay for their salaries. They're going to point you in the right direction. They're going to make sure things are not dropping through the cracks for you. They're going to make sure that they're working hard to help you retain, upsell, and create new business. And we're going to make sure that we can help make you guys as profitable as possible too. One of the ways that we do this is through our differentiators. We've got a slew of differentiators that help us win business. I love it because they're not just my differentiators, they're your differentiators that you can use to win business. So I'd love to go through each and every single one of those. I could probably recite them for you if you wanted me to, but I got better things to do during this webinar. So if you want to learn about what our differentiators are that you can make your own, please reach out to Elizabeth or I, or if you're a current Etsar partner, reach out to your dedicated account manager and they'd be more than happy to point you to exactly where those live. Lastly, strong, accountable, and transparent partners. I had a really good conversation with somebody recently. They're a great partner of ours. And, we were sitting down and we were actually having a meal together. It was really great. It was just a candid conversation. And I said, you know what, Elizabeth, I wasn't talking to Elizabeth, but I said, Michael, what was the reason that you guys decided to, go with Etsar, that you decided to continue to stay with Etsar? And he goes, well, you know what, any partner or vendor, whoever you work with, it's never going to be perfect, right? We all do our best to make sure it's as streamlined and as perfect as possible. It will never, ever be the most perfect thing ever. However, what he responded with was my favorite thing. He said, whenever there is an issue, which is not often, you guys are always willing to work through it. We're always willing to find that common ground, the middle ground, and there's transparency behind it about what happened, how it happened, and how we're going to make sure it doesn't happen again, right? And it goes both ways. That's why we consistently use the term partners. We do not like being called the V word, vendors. Etsar is here to lock arms with you and make sure you guys are able to be as dangerous as freaking possible. So when you're looking for a potential provider, a vendor, a partner, whatever, make sure they're strong, make sure they're accountable, and make sure they're transparent as well. That's really, really important. The must-dos as well. Elizabeth, we got to keep calm, we got to rock on. And how do we help these guys find those partners?
Well, I think first and foremost, and we've been talking about it, right? You need to find someone that mirrors and complements your business model, your ethics, your values, how you want to position yourself in the marketplace. And the best fit partner for you is going to be a partner that has that as their core. But I love this word. I love it here. They elevate. This partner needs to elevate your differentiators. Bigger and better, stronger, so you can push through that noise. So all those other competitors, those pop-up other agencies, right, in the marketplace, you can push through that because you have an elevated story, elevated differentiators that are going to resonate with your clients. So again, it's the experts, it's the toolkit, the resources, the technology, but the blend and the marriage of that with client support. I call it people power. It is so incredibly important, especially now when so much is automated, when you can, have full-on relationships and never see that person, right? You're texting, you're emailing. Everything can be done with a few clicks. We're a technology company, but we lean on the power of that human interaction and that human optimization and adjustment, because that is a huge difference in what makes things better. So this is super important, the three kind of pillars, if you will, but they've all got to come together to make sure that we're making you money, right? We're consolidating also a lot of those internal, maybe one-offs, right? Ben was talking about standardizing your processes, removing those one-offs. We want to make sure, and your partner should, whoever that is, they want to make sure that, or should, that you are consolidating, that you are really focusing on streamlining those efforts, and at the end of the day, maximizing your profitability, and not giving way to what you could be making if you've got all these other kind of sideline projects, right? Streamline those efforts, must do.
Absolutely. And so literally to take that toolkit that you just mentioned about, or not just the toolkit, but the experts, the toolkit, and the client support, we want to help you guys understand that simplicity is the ultimate sophistication there. And that is what AdSolvent does through the power of one partnership. So making sure you're keeping things simple, keeping things organized, customizing your sales enablement, understanding, we want to understand exactly who your partners are, who your clients are, what your goals are, what are your revenue goals that you're trying to obtain. Because we actually have enough experience through all of our hundreds of partnerships that we've had. We understand where you're at, where you want to be, and what we can do to reverse engineer it to get you to that point. So understanding and becoming that true partner to do that for you. Also, the dedicated team of experts. You guys, this is my favorite part because you personally never need to be a digital expert. Just be dangerous enough, right? Just be dangerous enough to have that conversation. You're gonna lean into our team of experts to help make you guys that much more dangerous. Hey, Ben, you wanna join my phone call? I have got a great opportunity in front of me with a client. We're actually gonna pitch them $20,000 deal. I know they're gonna come at us with some technical questions. Would you join us? Make sure we can answer those and help us get this across finish line. Absolutely. That's what we love to do. We like to join your sales calls with you. The other part, that single toolkit. This is probably one of the most important parts. Obviously, the dedicated team of experts is so important, but the single toolkit to make sure you guys can spend as much time selling and less time on the other stuff. Training and marketing. Do you guys have marketing materials? Do you have sales collateral? Do you have case studies? Do you have everything that you might need that your clients might ask you for, or that your prospects might ask you for? Do you have pitch decks put together? What's going to take you? How much time is it going to take you to put all that stuff together? Well, you don't need to do it when you're working with AdSolvent. Create custom proposals and track every single one of those orders as well, right? We don't need to necessarily, invest heavily into a big old CRM that does all these different things for us. AdSolvent has a baked-in CRM campaign hub where you can track all of your proposals and every single one of your orders as well. Finally, that reporting dashboard, right? It needs to be sexy, it needs to be slick, it needs to be pedestrian level sometimes and transparent. That's what we have for you here. And then also our resource center, actually manned and woman by an incredible team of people who are actually, sales professionals as well, which is really, really cool. So find that powerful toolkit. The power of one is so great. So this is a slide a lot of you have probably seen before, but this is AdSolvent in a nutshell. Elizabeth, tell us about this full stack solution and why it is the best.
Going back to our motto, right? Making the complex simple. So there could be many of you on today's call, or if you're thinking about your, how you want to grow out your agency and what products, what solutions, what do I need? I need this and this and this and this. This is a great way to check off all those boxes very easily, again, through one partner. So we're offering the full gamut of solutions, right? Everything's done internally. We do not outsource anything. We're not adding to the circus, as I like to say. We want to also practice what we preach. Minimize, keep it simple, consolidate, focus on what's working best. These are our core products that you see right here. And then really that Venn diagram, the kind of trifecta of these three elements, that's where our software comes into play. That's where your software could come into play in managing and supporting your book of business for your agency. Customized sales enablement, account management, proposal builds, execution. You're going to have full transparency as to how our team is managing, executing, pushing buttons, pulling on levers, doing the wizardry that they do. You see all of that. You'll also be able to communicate directly with those campaign managers. Last but not least is the reporting side of it, which is, Ben talked about it earlier, but that's when, of course, the proof is in the pudding. Everything comes together and your clients want this. They do not want a report here for social. Oh, and then here's something for search, but wait a minute, we've got this over here for our SEO. They're not going to put up with it. I'm telling you, we've been hearing it ourselves. They want something easy that shows an attribution model across all platforms. That omni-channel approach needs to have that same reporting methodology. So super, super important right there.
Absolutely. I always like to mention as well, we have the most unique approach to execution and fulfillment in the entire industry. We pay our operations people like salespeople, so they have financial investment in yours and your clients' campaigns to make sure they're hitting those performance guarantees, to make sure that they're providing a response to you in an appropriate time period. All of those things put together help make you guys that much more dangerous. And so when you're continuing to look at ways to build out your agency within your media organization, build something from the ground up, don't feel like you need to reinvent the wheel. We've got the guidance, we've got the playbook, we've got the team, and we've got the technology. We want you to be able to take full advantage of it. Remember, it all starts right here within the holy grail of all things AdSalrent, UI.marketing. Build your proposals, track your orders, manage your campaigns, report on all these things, everything within that single, centrally located toolkit. I cannot stop. Stop this presentation without sitting here and really embellishing our team. Elizabeth and I are so incredibly proud to be literally the faces that get to talk about these people, but they're in the background, just working their freaking tails off to make you as successful as possible. And I congratulate them on winning Excellence in Customer Service Awards for this year, being on Inc. Magazine's fastest growing companies, top 5,000 fastest growing companies for the last 5 years running. I think less than 1% of all companies who have made that list are actually in there 5 years in a row. We are actually working on being B Corp certified. We are a green business as well. Sales and Service Excellence Awards. We've got some great technology awards. And my favorite one right here, best places to work in Colorado. If you get to work with people who love working with you and love their jobs, why wouldn't you want to do that, right? These are the people that are invested in your business as well. So to recap this whole thing, find the right partners, make sure you get the support, the product quality, and the values that match yours as well. Consolidate and organize, use tools, create efficiencies, minimize the crazy. Don't hire a circus ringleader, hire a partner. Expect and receive transparency. Make sure you're getting that. If you're not getting the answers that you're expecting, ask again. And if you don't get, you need to be able to get that kind of stuff. Make sure you've got solid profitability, streamline your operations, and get real support from real people. Thank you all so much for joining us today. We're so excited to have a conversation with each and every single one of you. If you are a current AdSalrent partner, please feel free to reach out to your dedicated account managers for any additional information on anything that we went through today. If you're not currently an AdSalrent partner, we encourage you to reach out to either Elizabeth or myself. We will send out this recording as well as the deck in follow-up, and we'll add in a couple other things for you there too. But we hope everybody enjoys your holiday season. Remember, small businesses are the #1 driver of this economy. Shop local, maintain, let's stay out of this recession together, is what I'm saying. Thank you all so much. Enjoy yourselves.
Thank you.